This is a Saltz Brothers pen with a nib from the Charles H. Ingersoll Pen Company on it, and the nib is made of it's almost made of gold foil. It's so thin and it's lovely, but this particular pen has a half-life of 10 minutes. It's very flexible, but it's not flexible in a good way. It's flexible in a rather bad way. It has a little crack right there. No, it's so sad, so sad. There are certain nibs that will last you really, really a long time, and the rest of your life, and perhaps the rest of your children's life or someone else's children's life, should you not have any kids. And but there's some nibs, like the ones made by the Charles Ingersoll Company, who didn't think about that. They just wanted to make a buck, and in their case it was a buck. They sold pens for $1. When other companies were selling pens for $5 or $10, they also sold pocket watches for $1. So if you can imagine a watch that actually can work that's sold for $1, you probably can understand the quote quality, the fact that it works, that it ticks and winds up and hands move, is an amazing thing for $1. If it actually kept some sort of time, it's even more amazing. But I don't know how they did it. How they could even make a tinfoil, a gold leaf. That's what I meant to say. Gold leaf nib that it was as nice as this for $1. I don't know. But anyway, this pen nib will die with its boots on. I'll keep it in this actual pen because it seems to write. I tried to move this into a different pen to try to see if I could sell it to someone, and I think in my trying to replace this nib on another pen, I did the damage to it. And I try not to do that. It makes me sad that, even $1 pen that has a half-life of 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever I said, lasted for nearly 100 years, and then I get my paws on it and do damage to it. It makes me sad. But again, this particular nib is a special case because it really wasn't built very well. More nibs, M-O-O-R-E, as nice as they were, also were built very flimsily, and you just have to be careful with those because they often have cracks that are not going to get any better. I know some of us fidget with pens and tweak them and move them around and take them apart and put them back together and take them apart and put them back together, and then you take them apart and put them back together again. And all of that is just causing unneeded stress and strain, especially, well, in any number of places. So, my advice is always, when I repair a pen, I make it work, but there might be one molecule of ink left over from the old person, the old owner, not so much the original owner, but if I get a pen at a pen show that has been, quote, repaired by the previous owner, if I put a new sack on it. Anyway, I clean what I need to clean, and I make it work. But anyway, nibs. Nibs are so amazing, and again, the saddest thing for me is if I somehow damage a nib, especially one that hasn't been damaged in the past, and that happens occasionally, normally when I drop it on the floor, which I'm generally good about not doing. I try to keep that from happening, but every once in a while things like that can happen, and you end up harming it. I also try to avoid papers that are too textured, because I could be going along quickly in my calligraphic work and I could hit a little tiny bump, and the iridium on the tine could snap off. That's not a good thing. I'm pretty good about not pressing down too hard, and I think I know the limits of a pen. I think I can hear them when they whisper saying, "We've done enough, now you don't have to press down so much." But every once in a while I'll get a pen that I don't hear it clearly enough, and I might damage it by pressing down too hard. I generally don't have that problem, but occasionally I will. I get mixed messages, that's it, from the nib. The nib is saying, no, 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 yes. And it's the yes that I listen to, not the 3 no's that I heard. We want to hear what we want to hear, and we ignore the things we don't want to hear. So sometimes I'll have a pen that I think wants to flex more than it actually does, and I might cause problems there, but 99 out of 100 times I'm a pretty good listener to my nibs. This one doesn't want to go more than that. Yes, it can go more than that, but it does not want to. It's telling me, I can hear it very clearly. Don't go more than that. Even, that's right at the edge. Now, how do I know that? It's 30 plus years of fixing pens and trying pens and writing with pens, and that will tell me. Now, I do have a pen here that I recently, where the heck is it? I'm getting really mixed messages from it. It has a very interesting nib, and it just does not, I don't understand it. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay, this nib is a Waterman nib, and it looks like it wants to be flexible. It has a long tine. It has a long tine. I'll just draw it, easier to see it. It has a tine that is long. It's not one that looks like that. The tines are long, the slit is long. Everything about this makes me think this is a flexible nib. Well, when I put it in a pen, see, this is not a flexible nib. You can see that because it has a very short space between the breather hole and the end of the pen, and the angle of the nib is very different. So I can tell that this one should be more flexible than this one. But, and I just had, you know, I just had this in here. But it really, well, if you look at it, it really does not want to flex. And it's very frustrating. You think it would go as big as that, or more, and it really doesn't. It just goes to that. And that's applying a lot of, and that's applying a lot of pressure. It really, it's saying, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. They meant to make me a rigid nib, and for some reason the guy at the wheel cutting the tines, got distracted by the pretty girl or the pretty man or whatever he was looking at, and he cut it too big, or did something to it. It doesn't, this nib is almost as flexible as that one, and it's really confusing to me. And even if that pen didn't have I'm getting mixed messages from that nib, but I normally don't get mixed messages. I get a very clear, resounding voice. I'm a nib and I can do X, Y, and Z. I'm a nib and I can do X, and only X. Don't even think of asking me to even think about doing Y. I can only do X. And it disturbs me that nib that I just tried in this pen looks the way it does, because it doesn't act the way it does. It's surprising and disappointing. So I need to listen better, I guess, to that nib, or learn its language. This nib, the one I started writing with, the Ingersoll, I don't know what this one is telling me, even before I damaged it. It's lazy, that's what it is. It mumbles, and it's lazy. It's weak and makes a beautiful line. It can do this for 10 minutes, and then it'll start being less good, and then 5 minutes later it'll be less good, and 2.5 minutes, however if half-lives work. Let's ask an expert who has 9 lives. Kitty, can you explain half-lifery to me? Half-livery, half a loaf? Can you explain that, how that works? Yeah, I know, I was talking to you. Yeah, he wants to go back to sleep. Anyway, it's when I sell a pen to someone, I usually, or I do, I'd say this is as hard as you can press. You can make a line that on this pen can be that thick, not any thicker. I think in this pen you can't possibly get it thicker unless you ask a muscle man to do it. This pen can go to that thick, no thicker. Yes, it can be thicker, but you're going to break it. That can go to there. And that's enough. That's a perfectly good range. But that disturbing nib, it looks like it wants to do that, but it doesn't. It does not do it. It'll do it once. I can make it do it once, but that's it. once is not enough. And look at me, I've got inky fingers and it's not even 7 in the morning and I'm doing laundry. See what happens when I fix pens? Crazy me. Okay, there's the cat's tail saying, "Will you shut the F up and let me sleep?" That's exactly what I also can hear what cats tell me. Nibs and cats. And I don't get well, he does give me mixed messages sometimes, that cat. As all cats do. Purr, 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 hiss. Yeah, I'm talking about you. See? He pushes me away with one foot and he pulls me into him with another foot. So tell me what you want, kitty. Leave me alone but come closer. Yeah. Okay, go back to bed.